Wicket as the Aussies take a 2-0 lead heading into Adelaide. I'm Neroli Meadows. Joining me, Callum Ferguson, and making his Around the Wicket debut. It's a very warm welcome to Greg Blewett. And I've got to say, Josh Hazlewood, another setback with the Achilles. You can relate, Bluey.
I can relate. Well, put it this way, I'd rather be Josh Hazlewood than myself right now, because a bit of tendinitis on full match payments compared to a complete rupture and coughing up money left, right and right.
Centre?
Yeah, centre. With obviously medical bills, so I'd rather be Hoff.
Well, we're hiding the moon boot under the table, and we appreciate you still showing up for us on Around the Wicket. I'm going to put you under the pump straight away, though. You're obviously an Adelaide boy. The Adelaide Test, the Aussie 11, geez, there's some competition for spots. Who are you going with in your 11?
Well, I'm keeping the batting order the same, Nez. I think that functioned really well up there for the second Test match, so I'm not touching that. Although if Khawaja's fit, then they may bring him back, but I'm not touching it. And then obviously Nathan Lyon comes back in for Adelaide, and Paddy Cummins as well. So Doggett comes out, unfortunately, and Michael Neser as well, who's fresh off a fifer, gets dropped in my team.
Geez, did his job perfectly, but it's tough going to fit into this 11. Khawaja, big call there. What do you think?
It is. And look, I think he'll be right for the next Test match. So I think he plays in Adelaide if he's fit. And I probably, just looking at my side, I'll probably rest Scott Boland and get him right for the MCG. So I'm leaving Michael Neser in there on the back of what was an enormous performance on his home deck at the Gabba.
Interesting. Khawaja turns 39 on the second day of the Adelaide Test. So could be a good birthday, could be a tough birthday. Also, just a quick mention for Australia A. Campbell Callaway, 71. McSweeney, though, 226 not out, and he was opening this time last year. So pressure for spots no matter where you look in this Aussie fold. South Australia, speaking of, because obviously too many South Australians at the table today, Alex Carey, you watched it live. How good was that keeping performance in Brisbane?
Oh, it was extraordinary. And look, I've seen him keep a lot over the years, from first slip even when we first started playing together at the Redbacks. And he always had Velcro mitts, and we used to say that when we were in the slips court, and he'd just be diving across in front of me for fun, and he'd be holding on to everything. His footwork is incredible now. If you watch him, whether he's up to the stumps or whether he's back, he is just not missing a thing, and he gives himself every chance by getting those feet into the right positions. Sitting next to Brad Haddon this week, he said it's the best he's ever seen. It was an incredible performance and a real landmark for him, I think, in his career. And
I've got to say, his spot is obviously safe, but any time the Inglis, another keeper, is in the 11, that inherent pressure has got to be there. So it was really timely.
Yeah, I agree. And then when Josh Inglis came in for his Sri Lankan debut as well, Alex Carey really stepped up there too. So I think that's a really good sign that he's really comfortable with his own game and comfortable with his position in the side, even with Josh Inglis there. So I agree with Ferg. I mean, Alex Carey's game was, you're throwing his batting as well. His average now keeps going up with the bat, and he's definitely in the conversation now as the best keeper in the world.
More broadly, fielding, you were obviously the former fielding coach for Australia. The highest of highs for Australia, the lowest of lows for England. Those drop catches were really costly. But you think there's a bit of an issue still with that pink ball?
I just wonder whether we've got the product right, because I've spoken to players that have played with the pink ball and they do struggle to see it, especially late at night. And look, my eyesight's not perfect, and a lot of people watching on television struggle to see the ball as well, especially when it's hit square of the wicket. Obviously, England dropped a lot of catches as well, so whether they had difficulty in picking up the ball, you'd have to ask them. But yeah, I just wonder whether we've got it right with the pink ball when it's late at night. During the day, it's fine, but I still find the white ball easiest to pick up at night time, and it's great during the day as well. So I think they've still got to keep looking at it.
And just some news that came in this morning, Ferg. Mitch Marsh has retired from Sheffield Shield. An interesting statement, though, that he said that he's still open to playing Test cricket. Fascinating times that you can say, don't want to play for my state, but hey, if you want to give me a Test Guernsey, I'm still up for it. But Mitch Marsh, a wonderful first-class career.
Oh, unbelievable career, and he's done some wonderful work for the Australian cricket team in the creams as well. It is an interesting statement, isn't it? Because, historically you'd just say, well, if you're not playing Sheffield Shield cricket, you're not up for selection. But we are in the modern era now. We've seen the Australian team go with selection in different directions that we've never seen before. I just don't see him getting that opportunity. The selectors won't go down that path in my eyes. But what a phenomenal career it's been. He's just been such a pillar for Western Australian cricket for so long. He's certainly helped them get to the point of being a juggernaut at the domestic level. Congratulations to him.
A wonderful career. So proud of somebody he's had the highs and lows, both from the public but also in his career as well. So wonderful to see that we saw the very best of him at that level. I had to get some West Australian news in there.
Of course you did.
Too much SA.
Rightly so, though.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to bring a New South Welshman into the fold. Pup, Michael Clarke is coming up next. Bowl fast when there's nothing going on, champion. That was the words from Aussie skipper Steve Smith to Jofra Archer in those final moments at the Gabba as Australia won by 8 wickets. Another former Aussie skipper joins us now in Michael Clarke, who also delivered one of the great sledges in the Ashes at the Gabba. Pup, did you enjoy that between Jofra Archer and Steve Smith to finish, the theatre of it all?
Oh, I don't know. Be careful what you say because the world can hear. Hello, guys. Thanks for having me. Well, Smitty, he was in a position to say whatever he liked. Firstly, he's batting like a genius. His captaincy's been brilliant tactically on the field. Australia are on top. The Test match was over. Yeah, well, and again, he was quite polite. At least he didn't swear, which is much better than me.
Pup, just on that captaincy comment, off the cuff, Pat Cummins obviously has been brilliant and very successful as Aussie captain, but there's been some murmurs of whether or not Smudge should just hold on to it for the rest of the series. What do you think about that conversation?
No, Paddy Cummins the captain. Steve Smith had his opportunity. And if it wasn't for Sandpapergate, he'd still be captain. I think I said that in our first episode for the year. So that's happened. I think the public have certainly forgiven Smitty for that. He's back playing. He's captain when Paddy Cummins is not there. He's done a brilliant job. But no, we have one captain, and it's Pat Cummins. So as soon as he steps back onto the field, unless he loses that reign, which won't happen, he's the captain, in my opinion.
Bluey, you enjoyed that from Smudge.
I did enjoy it. And he was just responding to Jofra. He started it. He had the first verbals. And I thought Smithy's composure was actually very good. And then, let alone his stroke play after that. Like first ball smacked 147 Ks in front of square and then getting inside it. I thought it was a great finish to the Test match. I loved it.
I love the fact that you sounded like a kid in the playground. He started it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He said it first. He did.
Pup, another man who's started something, Michael Vaughan, has suggested that Ben Stokes should walk the walk and come up to number 3, replacing Ollie Pope. What do you think about that comment?
Love Vaughnie, but don't agree with that. I don't think that's best for England, and it's certainly not best for Ben Stokes. I think at the moment, Stokes is more of a bowling all-rounder, in my opinion. I think his bowling's been unreal, when he's fit for a long period of time. He's had some brilliant performances with the bat, but I think he's best suited in that middle order for the team. I think he just needs his top order to obviously score more runs, particularly in the first innings, to allow him to come in through that middle order and dominate. I don't think that fixes their problem. I think just, more expectation on your top 4. I know Joe Root made a brilliant 100, but the other guys in front of Root, I think they've just got to find ways to spend more time, obviously make more runs, but, allow your middle and tail to come in with 350 on the board, rather than coming in at 130 on the board.
He's also got to bowl a lot of overs, doesn't he, Ben Stokes? The way that the rest of the attack's bowling, he needs to pick up the slack. So batting at 3 just doesn't fit.
Also, he is somebody that has had his injury setbacks very recently as well. So it was even a question mark of whether he'd get through all 5 tests, let alone batting at 3, bowling the overs that he is. So anyway, watch this space, won't we? Pup, Brendon McCullum has come out and said we over-prepared. Is there such a thing? And how would you feel if you were a member of the Barmy Army, say?
I think if Baz had his time again, he might have changed that word from prepared to training. I think you can train too much. I think the key with trying to become a better player and a better team, you go to training with purpose. I think that's the significant difference. I don't think you can ever over-prepare. I think it's the most important thing when it comes to success. Your preparation's everything. And that's not just physical, it's mental as well. It's looking after your body. It's eating the right food. There's a million different things that go into being a professional athlete, especially these days. I think I know what Baz was trying to say. They probably trained extremely hard for that 5 or 6 days in the lead up after losing the first test. It's like we call it, naughty boy nets. You don't make runs, and then the coach goes, rightio, we're going to go and bat our backside off. And you walk out of the net session, you go, Matt, I'm so fatigued. You walk into the game, you make 40 and you're buggered.
Yeah.
So there is a balance, but I just think it was the wording. And again, this is an example of what the difference between an Ashes series, particularly in Australia and England, versus every other series is the scrutiny that comes with it. The media attention, the fans that are involved. We're reading every single day heavy criticism on this England team. And Stokes has come out, Baz come out, they've said, look, they're fatigued already. It's been a big couple of weeks. Well, that's what comes with Ashes cricket. So, yeah, they're going to have to, find a way, I guess, to turn things around quickly. And you'd think the captain, the coach know their players as well as anyone. So as critical as people are going to be, the fact they're on a golf trip as we speak, which you can understand as an England fan, I'd be wanting them to be in the nets or doing something to, even for perception, to show they're trying to get better. But I'd like to think, like I say, the captain and coach, that's their role. They'll have accountability at the end of this series, so they're going to back themselves.
You say naughty boy nets, they're going with naughty boy Noosa. But Bluey, you think that McCullum is potentially under the pump?
Oh, no doubt. This is his biggest challenge since he's taken over the role, and everything is being geared up for this series and a particular style of play. They've come to Australia and we all knew how they were going to play. Is it working? No, it's not. They're 2-0 down. So if it continues to go this way, if it's a heavy defeat, there's no doubt that, and I love Baz. I think he's a really good coach as well, and he's a very likeable guy. But there's no doubt if they continue down this path, then his spot will be scrutinised.
If it's 5-0, Ferg, is he gone?
Oh, look, I think he would be. And that wouldn't... I don't think he'd even wait to be given the tap on the shoulder. I think if that was the case, then he'd probably walk to another role somewhere. He won't struggle to get a role anywhere else. He's a fantastic coach, as Bluey mentioned. But, the whole setup will come under scrutiny. The whole high-performance setup. Rob Key will be the other one that'll be under some pressure. And that's just what happens. Ashes cricket, the pressure is of the highest order, and that's not just the players on field, but off-field staffing.
It is the stuff of legends, Ashes cricket, and boy, oh boy, Mitch Starc is performing at the moment. As a former captain of his, Pup, how pleased are you to see the way that he's performing, both with bat and ball, by the way, but with the absence of Cummins and Hazelwood, he has stepped up big time this series.
Yeah, he's player of the series so far. There's no doubt about it. I think the most impressive thing for mine was that first test match in Perth. There wasn't much swing at all, but he was able to bowl that consistent speed, consistent length, take the ball across the right-hander with angle and that scrambled seam, and then occasionally bring one back in or take it away from the left-hander, where we know Starkey, when it swings big, he's unplayable, but he's finding other ways. He's obviously taken that extra responsibility. You talk about, guys when they become captain, how they take on that extra leadership responsibility, or you transform from a young player into a senior player and your role becomes, scrutinised a lot more, or you go into an opening batting position or a number 3. The best players in the world seem to crave that extra responsibility, and I think Starkey certainly showed that.
I feel like the Australian public have respected him for quite some time with what he's done across all 3 forms, but I feel like maybe this is a summer they fall in love with him.
Couldn't agree more. And he deserves it. I mean, over a long period of time, I don't think people have really realised how tough he is. He copped a little bit of criticism early in his career, but he plays with so many injuries. He's bowling still at over 140 Ks consistently. And, throw in everything else. He's batting the other day, 77, and he's fielding. He's just a supreme athlete. So I agree. I hope he really absorbs it as well, because you're right. He's been criticised for a long period of time about, how many runs he goes for, all that sort of thing. But I've never seen him bowl better. I was in the West Indies where he had just an unbelievable tour there. So his last couple of years has been phenomenal, and I still think he's got a little bit of cricket left in him.
And you talk about walking the walk as opposed to talking the talk, like you say, that batting, going, no, this is how you dig in. I don't want to bowl early. I want to bowl under lights, so I'll do it myself. He has done that for quite some time in those moments where you really needed a leader to stand up. Just quickly, Pup, we were talking about Usman Khawaja. Do you pick him if he's fit for Adelaide?
This is probably not answering your question. I think the selectors will pick him. I think he'll be back at the top of the order. I don't know if I would make a change, to be honest. I think I've said before, normally with senior players like that, and certainly when you get to that age, you're selected for big tournaments, either a World Cup or an Ashes series. And at the end of those, your time is done. Australia are 2-0 up. We've got someone at the top of the order that scored an unbelievable 100. I don't know if they need to go back to that now. And I know that might be hard on Aussie because he's had a wonderful career and been a big player. And he wasn't really spoken about. His spot wasn't spoken about before a ball was bowled in this tournament or this series. But things have changed. Australia's dominating. Their style of play is working. So I don't know if I would go back to that. But I do think the selectors will. I do think they'll pick him in Adelaide.
Pup, thanks so much for your time. We will see you next week. Don't go anywhere because Graeme Swann is going to join us next. Should be interesting.
Teams come to Australia can't be, soft or weak, whatever it may be, because that's how it is out here. It's a tough place to come, but I see it as there's no room for that in a dressing room that I'm in charge of. Double-edged thing there. Can't come to Australia and be weak, but you also can't be in my dressing room if you are.
Ben Stokes has thrown down the gauntlet. He said that both in the presentation, the presser and in radio interviews. He wanted his teammates to hear it. Joining us now is Graeme Swann. Swanny, he's thrown down the gauntlet. Will his players respond or will they crumble? What do you think?
Was there a bit of dramatic music played over the back of that?
Certainly was.
Kind of like
That's what happens when you're 2-0 down.
I like what you've done there. Well, listen, they have to respond, don't they? Because for 2 test matches now, for 1.5 test matches, they've been by far the worst team. I'm taking the first innings in Perth away because Australia were dreadful in that first innings. But I'm clutching at straws. Yeah, I know that. England have got to stand up because, this test match especially, on what was a really, really good wicket at Brisbane. I mean, I was there on day one. And I was bored stupid because England were batting. The game was going nowhere. Australia didn't look like taking a wicket. I thought this is almost a guaranteed draw on this pitch because neither bowling attack is going to bowl a team out once, let alone twice. And so for England to lose, as they did in the end, you can understand what Ben Stokes is saying. Like, something's got to change. People have got to stand up and be counted.
A lot of people leading into this one, Stuart Broad, for example, said this is the strongest England 11 in some time and the weakest Australian 11. If this English 11 is as good as or better than Australia, how much of a waste of talent have we seen so far?
Well, I tell you, it's not the strongest England team I can remember because I think my team would have pumped this lot. But it is a very strong England team on paper. I just don't think in this test match. I think what was really highlighted is the bowling. The bowlers, I think they're all very good bowlers, but as a unit, they're just not putting the ball in the right place often enough. I think the batting. You see the way Australia bowl; they're just banging out hard lengths time after time, being patient when it's doing nothing, and then cashing in. When you get a wicket, you tend to get 2, sort of thing. We all know that in Australia. England just aren't nailing that skill at the minute. A lot of the heat is falling on Jofra Archer that I think is unwarranted. I'm getting quite annoyed at it all. But the other seamers, Atkinson's not really fired yet. He's not bowling badly. Brydon Cast just looks low on confidence. I don't think he can put the ball exactly where he wants it at the minute. And if he can, then look, the theories aren't really working. So I think it's just a case of Australia completely out-bowling England. And that's being exacerbated by the fact that, the English batsmen aren't scoring runs because they're not allowed to really get in the sort of form the Aussies are at the moment.
Tell me more about Jofra Archer. You're pretty fired up about this.
No, right, there's this one thing, and I spoke to you on the phone yesterday about this, Nez, because it's winding me up.
I was holding the phone out here.
I know, and I apologise. I wasn't having to go at you, Nez, but okay, I still pretty much see myself as a player. I'm not that long finished, even though most of you would argue otherwise. I still see myself in the change, but I'm still involved in coaching. When I saw Jofra Archer highlighted on TV walking in with a pillow, nobody saw that. No one in the crowd saw it. No one ever. Players do stuff like that. I used to, after we'd finished fielding, I'd take a pillow. I'd sleep in the change room. There's nothing. That was highlighted on TV, and I heard all the Aussie commentators go, "Oh, mate, that's a terrible look. Why would you do that? Can't believe what I saw." No one saw it apart from 2 Aussie commentators who then made it a story by putting it on TV. It's a joke. Stop finding stories that aren't even. Oh my God, I was sat watching the Australia A England A game, and Australia A were pumping us at the time, so it wasn't a great 20 minutes for me, I won't lie. If I could have throttled a TV, I was going, no! Anyway, I actually think Jofra, you take that easy catch behind that Jamie Smith put down for keeper, test match keeper, absolute clanger, and he'll admit that, I'm sure. That gets caught. Jofra's got a new batsman, could easily get on a roll. That whole test match could be a different story. To turn it on like your strike bowler and have a go at him. And the second innings thing, saying, oh, he only showed some aggression when they were 65 to win, whatever. Just imagine if England had gone out defending 65 and not given a toss and just thrown it away. And Australia got it in like 5 overs, no heat, no one caring. They'd have been absolutely crucified in the press. And then the fact they went out there at least showed some spirit, showed that there is some fight left in the dog, and the next test is not going to be a walkover. I was actually quite proud of that little passage of play, even though obviously you're going to lose the game, but at least they showed that they do care about it. And they got eviscerated by the English press again. The English press...
Cut him off, Blewett, it's fine.
They've got their teeth sharpened at the minute. Sorry, rant over.
Swanny, I cannot believe you're having a go at our media showing Jofra Archer coming in with his pillow. Yeah. I have toured England. Have you heard of your tabloid papers over in England? Do you think that may have been brought up if we were there in the opposite situation?
Oh, I'm not defending anyone's tabloid papers. I'm having a go at yours at the minute, Blewett. You can have a go at mine whenever you like, and I'll be with you. I'll jump on with you.
I'll tell you what, Swanny.
I've been victim of this. I've been victim of this by our own press, and I just think it's the sensationalism. It's looking for stories that aren't there. Concentrate on what's going on the park, not filthy rubbish like that. The whole helmets.
All right, well, let's do that then, Swanny. We want to see more of it from Jofra earlier in the contest, where he's coming hard, he's having a bit of a lip at the top order. We'd love to see a bit more of it, because when he's in full flight, there is very few better in the world to watch.
100%. And that's what I'm saying. That catch gets taken in the first innings. He gets another wicket. He's up and firing. That second innings, he's having to go there. The captain's obviously said to the team, go out there, show some spirit here, show some fight. Do not just be walkovers. So I've got no issue with that. All those people who've never played the game, who then say, oh, yeah, but it's easy. Because there's a fight, there's a finish. No, seriously, but it's people who've never played the game who suddenly turn around and go, oh, this is what... If you've been in that change room and you're embarrassed, you're about to lose a test match, and the captain says, right, go out there. I don't care that we're going to lose this game, but we're going down with a fight.
You're kind of getting an idea of what I copped on the phone yesterday. I'm going to cut you off because I do want to talk about a couple of other things, and we're going to completely run out of time. You were watching the Lions. Selection-wise, you mentioned Brendon. Does he keep his spot? Ollie Pope, does he keep his spot? What do you think?
I think both are struggling going into the next test. But only because there's able replacements. I think they're both brilliant cricketers, I'll say that first and foremost, but they're not in good form. I would love to see Josh Tongue playing, not only because he plays for Nottinghamshire, who won the championship last year, which is my county, but he's a really good bowler, and I think he'll do very well on these pitches. He's fit, he's firing. And Jacob Bethel got 70-odd this week, very serenely in the second innings. He threw it away in the first innings against a spinner, but he's a brilliant lad. He's got a mature head on his shoulders. I think they're pretty easy swaps to make at this point.
Is Bethel the type of player you think is going to get better with every level he goes up? Because he hasn't made 100 at List A or first-class level yet. Is he that type of player, do you think?
He is, yeah. Okay. He's such a good player at pace bowling, which is fairly rare for young lads coming up. You get one every now and again who can just pull off the front foot like you, Bluey. But he is such a good player at quick bowling. And you're going to face a bit of pace. Adelaide's an absolute road. Everyone can get 100 there on Davies. So I'm sure I'm sure that Bethel could come in and do a good job.
Well, I want it on the record that I had Joe Root in the rundown, his maiden Test ton down under. But guess what? We're not going to talk about it because we were too busy talking about Jofra Archer and his pillow. Thanks to you, Graeme Swann. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll chat to you next week. Maybe then we'll give Joe Root his flowers. 2-0. Short stuff is coming up next. What about this in the WBBL? An absolute screamer from Eleanor LaRossa to get Elise Perry. Even Perry, the great legend of the game, had to applaud it. But look at that. It was a no ball robbed. Time to take on the short stuff. Bluey, do you feel for it? It was such a great catch.
Yeah, whenever you take a screamer like that, you want it to count, right?
100%.
So at least she took it in the first place.
Yep.
Never really happened to me. I mean, it took some great catches. I can't remember Fergie taking too many
hang on a
catches.
second.
Little clip, little drama.
I did good catch, regardless.
Speaking,
Very
it's
good.
probably got more replays though. The fact that it was a no ball.
Well,
in
that's
the end.
right, yeah.
The English run out in the test. The wonderful catch from Carey, where he had to out muscle Marnus
That's
Labuschagne
it.
and
Contested mark.
exactly contested mark. Go back to his footy days, or the Smith slips catch. Which one are you picking?
Oh, look, Kez has got the gloves on, so I'm going to go with Smithy at slip. He was kind of blindsided. He said he didn't get a good look at it, and to just get across to his left so beautifully and smoothly to pick up that catch, I'm just going with that. Inglis was outstanding.
Tell you what, he didn't have the gloves on, which made Inglis even more impressive.
Yes.
Smith, every day of the
Yep.
week. Great catch. After a long partnership as well, don't forget.
Yes.
The West Indies batted for 163 overs to
Yeah.
save the test in Christchurch up against New Zealand. How good is it for cricket?
Oh, it's brilliant. It's great to see the West Indies showing that sort of fight in a last innings. I just wish they'd gone for the win, because if they'd gone for the win, they'd set batters at the crease. They could have inspired a generation with a win in that scenario.
A draw is as good as a win at the moment for the West Indies, so they'll probably include it as a win for the way they've been going.
We've spoken a lot about Jofra Archer. Is there anything that man can't predict on Twitter? This is 2013. He predicted Smith 23 off 9. By the way, they weren't
hang
even
Oh,
on.
playing cricket at the moment. It was in
No.
between tests in India.
What's he on about?
I've got no
The
idea.
Oracle.
He is
Does anyone
Nostradamus.
tweet anymore?
See you next week.